If you have a website or you want to create a website, one of the most important things that people get confused about is the techie stuff. How does the website really work? In this video, I'm going to cover that. Now, I'm not going to go into the real details, but I'm going to give you a high-level overview. Once you understand that, it'll be very easy for you to understand how a website works. If you want to build one for yourself, you can just do it. It's very easy to do. In today's with today's technological advancements, you can use drag and drop editors. You can use tools like Kajabi to just build a website within a few hours. So if you have your messaging, your offer, everything aligned, and if you haven't watched my previous videos on that, go and watch them. Once you have that, making a website is very easy. In this video, I'm going to cover the very basics on how a website works. Again, this is part of my paid course, so there's a lot of gold in here. Watch this. Even if you don't want to build one, just watch this because it'll give you a lot of clarity on how a website works. It's very high level, but it's going to be filled with golden nuggets. So watch this, and if you like it, please subscribe to the channel. Hey everyone, and welcome to this next video. And in this video, we're going to talk about some website fundamentals. Now, this is some really basic stuff, but I want you to get a feel of it. I want you to understand how things work before we start building anything, okay? So what's a website really? Let's look at the definitions. So a website is simply a collection of web pages, and those web pages are essentially code. It's some kind of code in a programming language, and will depend and vary from technology to technology. But essentially, that code describes the layout, the format, the content, whether it has videos, whether it has blog, whatever it is, everything decided by that code. All you need to know is a website is a collection of web pages. The second thing you need to know is what a web server is. So web server is essentially a computer, it's like a computer. So if somebody types in a request in their browser, this web server will receive that request and send the web page, right? So let's say somebody types in google.com, the web server will receive that request and then send back the google.com homepage. That's all there is. So it just processes that code. The code that we talked about, the web server processes that code. Now, what's a browser? I think everybody knows it, but I'm still going to go over it. The browser, Google Chrome, or you can talk about Firefox, or if you're on a Mac, Safari. That connects your computer to the website, okay? And your website has an IP address, and the IP address could be like 192.168 or something like that. But that is usually masked by the domain name. So it'll usually say google.com or facebook.com because it is automatically converted by your browser, so you don't have to worry about it. So your browser just lets you access the web server essentially. So when you type in the request, the browser accesses the web server and loads the website. So really easy stuff. I think everyone has used a website, so it's not that difficult, but I just wanted to go over this very, very quickly. So let's say you want to go to youtube.com, right? So you open your browser and you say, okay, I want to go to youtube.com, and it goes to the web server and it just fetches youtube.com and brings it back to your browser. That's all there is, guys, okay? So what do you need to get a website up and running? Let's talk about that now. So that's how a website works, but now you want to build your own. So what do you need, right? So essentially you need a server, you need a web server, because that's where you're going to host all your pages. And a good analogy to look at this is just renting a house on the cloud. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to pay one of the hosting providers that we're going to sign up with. You're going to pay them a monthly or yearly fee and just rent out some space and say, hey, can I host my web pages on your server? And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so it's just renting out a little house on your server, and we're just going to buy it from one of the providers. And I'm going to cover all the details step by step. I'm not going to skip anything, so don't worry about this. But that's what you need. That's the first thing you need. You need a place to store your web server, to store your website pages. Now, could you store it on your local computer? Yeah, you could. You could just have a computer in your house and store it there, but it's not going to be efficient, and it's not going to be like if your internet goes down or something goes wrong with your computer, you're going to be in trouble. So it's always better to go with cloud-based hosting, and we're going to cover all that in the technical part of the course, so don't worry about that. The second thing you're going to need is a domain name. So facebook.com, google.com, or anandbode.com, or zoom.com, or zoom.us it is. So all that is an address, essentially. So when you buy your own little house on the cloud, how will anybody know where you live? So that's your domain name. That's your address of your website. And we're gonna register our domain name, and we're gonna do it with the same provider that we're gonna buy the hosting from. So it's all in one place, and it's not complicated at all. And the third thing you're gonna need is tool to build a website. So you bought your house, you've got an address to the house, but now you need to, build the house. You need to build the interiors. You need to make it look good. You need to build the piping, the plumbing, the security. You've got to put a lock on it. So how are you going to do that? So you're going to use a tool to build it. And in our case, the tool is going to be WordPress. Okay, so we're going to use WordPress, and we're going to install WordPress on our server, and then we're going to make all the changes and make our website look really, really amazing. So this is how it's going to look. So we're going to go with Namecheap because they're going to be our hosting provider, and we're going to buy hosting from them. And then we're going to buy the domain name from them, and that domain name, it's usually called a URL, which is a uniform resource locator. So it could be facebook.com, google.com, or anandbodecoaching.com, or whatever it is like that. We're going to talk about branding and how to get this in later part of the course. But that's what we're going to do, and we're going to use WordPress to build your website. So
I hope that was clear enough. So this is your own little rented house. This is your address, and using WordPress, you're gonna make your house really, really pretty, really, really nice, really, really, really appealing to your ideal clients. So they want to come in, they want to interact with you and get to know you better. So that's the website fundamentals at a very high level. There's a lot more that goes on, but really you don't need to know all the details because it's not really necessary. So in the next part of the video, we're going to dive in a little bit more about the principles and fundamentals of web design.